We are revisiting, since this is our short day, we are revisiting 1819, which we said we would come back to. So let's just review and we'll review the pasuk, the facts, the questions, and then just look at more mafarshim here. Okay, so we had Ach nifsha mikiryas oz umidyanim kivriach armon. So the way we translated this is a wronged brother is, you got to insert a word there. You have a question or something?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting for this to end.
Oh, fine. Okay, yeah. A wronged brother is better than a fortified city or worse than a fortified city. There's some sort of like word you got to insert there. And quarrels or quarrelers are like a palace bolt. That's like the bolt that they use to bolt the door. Okay. So we asked, what's the situation with the brothers here exactly? And like, is brothers davka like blood relative? Is it any relative? Is it any person? In what way is he wronged exactly in this scenario? Two, what is it saying about a strong city in relation to the brotherly wrongdoing? Like, what's the point of the mashal? What's the relationship between the second half and the first half? Is the second half also describing the same brother as in brother situation as in the first half, or is it like a different situation? And then what's the mashal of the palace bolt? Yeah. So we did. What did we say?
So you're interpreting the mid-bottom or whoever as two brothers quarreling?
Yeah, that's how we were interpreting. Yeah.
I thought it was. It struck me as like the group of people who are quarrelers do this thing.
One or two.
It seems wrong though.
Yeah, say again.
It struck me as like the group of people who are quarrelers. They act like this, which is different than what you were saying.
Yeah. We were assuming that it's the same situation.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I remember we did the Rabbeinu Yonah. Let's just look at the Rabbeinu Yonah again, just to refresh our memory. And this time I'm going to use the same Rabbeinu Yonah you're using. Let me find it. It's on page 3, I think. Let's see, nope. Was I on the right page? Yeah, I was on the right page the whole time. Rabbeinu Yonah says, Ach nefsha mikiryas oz mipnei shavach chalukas hagoral kihu mashvis midyanim v'lo yachmod. Since he praised the division, the allotment of the lottery that was in the pasuk before that.
Oh yeah.
What was it?
I'm confused. You're talking about the Goro.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the Rabbeinu Yonah associative thing. And since it puts quarrels to rest and no person will covet his neighbor's stuff, the chalukas nechasim mitzuya ba'achim. The division of property is common among brothers. Shecholkim panachlas avosam, because they divide the inheritance of their father. Amar kama yesh al ha'achim lehizahir al hamadon. Oh, now I'm remembering. Yeah. So the point of the pasuk is brothers really need to be careful about quarreling. Penya va'u min hamadon el hasina v'ha'eve, because that could lead to hatred and like animosity. V'hine ach poshe umore be'achiv echav kasha yoser mikiryas oz. When one brother wrongs and betrays another one, it's worse or it's harsher than a fortified city. Ratzalomar, I mean, you say ki kasha v'ra al ha'ach kasher yimrod bo echav mi anshe kiryas oz. So it's worse when it's worse on a brother when his brothers, act against him than the people of a kiryas oz. Ratzalomar me asher yisna uhu kol anshe kiryas oz. In other words, you can have a whole city hating you, and you can have your brother rebelling against you, and the brother's going to be worse. The brother's situation is going to be worse. Why? Ki karov hanezek lavo misinas ha'ach, because it's more likely that harm will come from the hatred of a brother. Ki hu yodea inyane achiv. I don't know if it's achiv or echav. Achiv is his brother. So yeah, I'm blanking. Which one's achiv and echav? Whatever. Because he knows like his brother's personality or his brother's situation. Uvame yuchal haziklo, and he knows how to hurt him. So that was point number 1: is that your brother can hurt you more And then the second point he's going to make is he says, "Nifsha kmo poshea v'chavero nishba nilcham kmo lochem." Okay, fine, that's just grammatical. Umidyanim kivrich armon midyanim asher bein achim. The quarrels between brothers. Isaiah, I think that's how we got it, maybe, or that was what confirmed it. Quarrels between brothers. Kashim v'chazakim kivrich hasoger delasos ha'armon is harsher and stronger than the palace bolt that bolts the palace doors. Asher lo yuchal ish liftoch delasos mibachutz. No one can break them from the outside. V'lishbor habriach and break the bolt. Kain lo yuchal limtzo derech liftoch pesach lasim shalom b'neim. So too, you're not going to find an opening and an entryway to make peace between them. Ki sina chazaka b'neim, because the hatred is strong among them. Ki hamered v'habegida sheyivgod ish be'achiv nogas ad hanafesh mi begidas ish nachri. Because the feeling of betrayal is going to be worse when it comes from a brother than from a stranger. Because a stranger, so I think we said the idea basically is like, this is a quantitative warning that everyone realizes that quarreling is bad, but sometimes you can misjudge how bad it would be between a brother and not take proper precautions. But then what he's saying is the hatred is going to be worse. Sorry, the pain is going to be worse because he knows how to hurt you, and the personal pain is going to be worse because it feels like a greater betrayal. Whereas a stranger, like, fine, he's acting in his own interest, but this is my brother. Like, he's supposed to, there's supposed to be like a natural love there, and so it's like a subversion of the natural love. Yeah. So I think that was a good idea.
I think we also said that he's gonna hate you much more for wronging him.
Right.
Like
right.
The initial hate is for your wronging him is gonna be much more.
Yeah. Okay. Should we tackle the Meiri? I don't remember what the Meiri says. I don't think we read it last time. So let's check out the Meiri because he's usually good. Meiri, does he begin on the first page? Yeah. Ach nifsha mikirias oz umidanim kriach armon. So he does this as a standalone pasuk. He'ar laharchi hamachlokas. Okay, so this is about distancing oneself from machlokas, from disagreement or dispute. Ve'af be'inyan shehamachlokas mitzuya bo. Even in something where machlokas is common. Kagon ha'achim v'hashutfim habaim lachlok. Interesting. You see what he did there? Achim v'shutfim. Like brothers and partners who come to divide. So he doesn't seem like he's taking brothers literally. It's people who are in a partnership, as opposed to like, I guess someone who is a stranger or someone else. Meiri going on. Roi lahem lihishtada b'harchakasa umini asa. It is proper for them to strive for distancing themselves from it and preventing it. Machlokas. V'hu shi yechlaku begoral. Oh, he goes back to the goral again. Kemitzvos haTorah asher kol nesivos hashalom. Commotion kasav ach begoral yechalagas haaretz. They should use the lottery method. Yeah, they really are connecting these two things. Yeah.
I don't really think it's that different from Rabbeinu Yonah, because it seems like his reason that you should avoid the maflokas is kind of the same. Like,
yes, right. People are close to you. Yeah, it's bad. Let's see if he goes on. Well, Lezeh Amar, for this reason, it says Midyanim Yashbis HaGoral. So that's why the previous pasuk said that the Goral puts to rest Midyanim. So I guess it means it uses the same lashon as this one. Kolomar Goral Yashbis Katata Umerivos. It puts to rest fighting and quarrels. Wait. So did he even give a commentary on that last pasuk? On the Goral pasuk? What pasuk was that? That was 17?
Oh, wait, he has something later on.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking, like, did he already give commentary on the Goral pasuk alone, and then now he's just returning to it, or did he not give commentary on that one? Oh no, he's joining them. He's joining them. Okay, yeah, it was just on the other page. Yeah. Okay, that's why he's going through both of them. All right. Yeah. Okay, fine. All right, so let's go on. Where are we at now? Where do we stop? Bein atzumim yafrid, right? It'll separate between the strong. The atzumim hu toar me'inyan tokef. So atzumim is an adjective from the word tokef, power. Klomar bein hamischazkim b'meriva umisarvim b'tagar. Okay, so people who strengthen themselves in quarrel, and I don't know what it means misarvim b'tagar. Join in their complaint. I'm not sure. Yafrid, separate. V'yasir kinas ish me're'ehu, and remove jealousy of one man from his brother, his friend, his fellow, his comrade. Ad yifridu ze mizeh, until they separate from one another. V'shtadol kol echad b'shalo, and each one strives on his own. Okay, I don't know what he's saying yet. I just want to get the full picture. V'afilu ha'ach or shutaf nifsha, and even if it is a brother or a partner who was wronged, or it's lemar poshea, Umachazik b'machlokas kasha v'chazaka mikiryas oz, and he latches onto the machlokas in a strong and powerful way, like a fortified city. Uvmidyanim kashim v'chazakim kivirach amram hamivtzar, and like a palace bolt which is very, very strong. Alpha P Kain Hagor Yash Bisam. Okay, so this is just like an elaboration of how good the Goral is. The way he's learning it is like you could even put an end to quarreling between brothers. V'hotziu b'lashon nifal, it is expressed in the passive, klomar nifsha, l'chozak ha'inyan, due to the strength of the matter. K'derech oz nidberu yirei Hashem, ha-nidberim b'cha, shnemar kain l'chazik ha'dibur v'hasmadasa. Okay, so that's all about, that's just a stylistic thing to say how strong it is. Okay, so he's really not getting a new idea from this. Right, it's just an elaboration on the Goral one. You want to do his derech nistar, since that was so good last time?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's see here. It looks long too. He said, oh, and he goes more also. There's a lot more than this. Okay, so maybe this is not just derech nistar. Let's just keep reading. I just lost my place. Oh, u'v'derech nistar, Yomar Goral al Shnei Panim. Okay, so Goral is said in the derech nistar in two ways. Ha'echad kamashma, one is literally like a lottery. Al briras echad mishnei devarim begoral, on the selection of one thing from two through a lot. V'nasan al shnei hasirim goralos. Vayipol hagoral al Yona. Okay. V'asheni b'malkum chelek. Second one, Goral is like your lot in life. Okay, like the portion that you get. Sha'chelek hamizdamin la'adam mitad mazalo o mitad hagumul me'es ha'elokim. A thing that a person gets from the laws of nature, like by chance, or from God, is called his lot. It ended up being his lot. Tanuach v'tama l'goralcha. Okay, that's Daniel. I don't know the context there. Klomar l'chelek hamiyuad lach, the portion that is promised to you. Ata tomech gorali. You supported my lot. Meaning my portion. Okay. Ooh, he's going into real derech nistar here. So belief in things can be divided into four categories. One is the sensory. Second is, you guys know the Rishonic meaning of mafursam? Mafursam is literally like public or common.
So like things that are known, it's like events that happen.
So I believe I'm assuming that he's using it in the Rambam and Aristotelian sense. So mafursamos means things that are good and bad, but based on convention, based on like what people agree upon. So let's say, for example, like the example the Rambam uses, he brings this up in Gan Eden, is nakedness is not bad objectively, but it's bad in the mafursamos, that people view it as bad and therefore like it's bad. So it's like tov and ra as opposed to emes and sheker. What is it?
Taboo.
Yeah, taboo would be like a strong form of it, but let's say proper, improper would be in the mafursamos, things that I think the easiest way to identify them is things that differ from society to society. So let's say in this society, if you are not making eye contact with your elder when you're talking to them, then that's viewed as disrespectful. But in other societies, it's disrespectful if you do make eye contact. It's okay, that's mufursamos. Hashlishi hamokesh, that is through logic. I think mokesh here is logic. V'hu shave lefilosof lebaldas, and that's the same for the philosopher and the religious person. I don't know why he has to say that, unless he's talking about all three categories. I don't know. V'haravi'i hamakubal. The fourth one is tradition, that which is accepted based on authority. V'hu hamiyuchad l'chelik baldas, and that is reserved for the baldas. I assume it means the Jewish person, not just any baldas. So the philosopher is not basing things off of received knowledge because they don't have Masorah.
Well, other people, I assume other people who are Jewish have their own Masorah.
Right. Yeah. I guess the question is he endorsing these or not? Like, if he's saying it in an endorsement way, then I think he would only confine it to like true Masorah,
Right. But it sounds like to me he's just defining how
categories. Yeah, that could be. Amar she'achel hamiyuchal baldas yishmeruhu mikama machlokos uktatos beino uvein hamisnaged. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so he says the portion that is unique to the religious person, it will protect him from disagreements and quarrels between himself and people who oppose. Ooh, he connects it to 17 also. Yeah, okay, so what is he saying here? Do you get what he's saying? and how he's interpreting the pasuk this way. No, this is the Goral pasuk, not the. I don't think he said anything about the brothers yet. You gotta like read between the nistar lines.
Seems like he's calling the Masorah a lottery.
Mhm.
Like he's referring to like that as the Goral, like that was
Right.
already Machlokas.
But not lottery. Lot.
Wow, you're right.
Right. So that was his first point, is that
okay.
that lottery is like a random selection, but then
Right.
Goral is also your portion that you get. And we as religious people get a portion of Masorah, and that will be Yashbis Midyanim. So what is he saying that means?
Meaning that we can't quarrel about it anyway because it's whatever the Masorah says.
So what Midyanim is it stopping?
Oh, you versus like other people who would come to.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I actually had this this case. So the ongoing thing with the Ram's third Iker has been going on. Yeah. So a friend of mine who is a friend of mine who is I'm trying to think how he would characterize himself, an expert in Thomastic Catholic theology, you know. So he asked me questions about, so he said, if you hold that you can't know God's essence, so then how can you be sure that he doesn't have emotions? Okay. So I gave my argument, and I prefaced it by saying, I am not arguing from a firsthand understanding or proof of these Ikarim. I'm relying on Masorah as taught by the Rambam. I'm starting with those principles. And then my friend, who is actually like, you know, able to be holding in like philosophical discourse, said, okay, so we'll work within the Maimonidean premises and then argue from there. And it was just interesting like maneuver, because he was prepared to go into this from like a purely philosophical perspective, but I said, I'm not at that level yet, you know, so I'm going to work within the Ikarim. And then I had listened to Rav Pesach's Sunday shiur on Ikarim, which I highly recommend to everyone, that he gave last year. And I forgot if it was only last year and the year before. But Rav Pesach says that the Ikarim function in this way, is that basically the Ikarim are there so that you're not like groping around in the darkness of an endless like mire of the like philosophical shitos of everyone, you know, that you have these ikarim that you rely on and that rule out certain ideas from the get-go. And yeah, ideally you get to the point where you're investigating this on your own, you know, and like reaching your own conclusions, but the ikarim prevent that type of conflict from entering in when you're developing philosophically, you know? And so it's a very, you know, good example of this is like had I not had ikarim, I would have immediately gotten drawn into this very, very murky debate about like God's essence from Aristotelian perspectives and stuff like that. And like, I can't handle that. Like at this point in my development. So like the Ikarim kept me on track. So that's my chilek, yeah. And I get a chilek in Olam Haba for it too. Oh. Okay, then he goes on. Vizulasi, that's where we're at. Vizulasi Pirish, someone other than me explained, who is this he quoting? He's quoting the Malamed HaTalmidim. Who's the Malamed HaTalmidim? Never heard of that. The Malamed HaTalmidim explained, or maybe it's cited in the Malamed HaTalmidim. I don't know. Kihu remez al haTorah ve'al mitzvosaha hanosnos seder b'anhagas ha'adam b'ma'achala u'v'mishtav shehu yashvis midyane ha'achim. And look at footnote 65. Hayitzer hara ve'yitzer tov, the brothers, right? So some want to say that it's a mashal for the Torah and its mitzvos, which instill a person's behaviors with order in his food and in his drink, and puts to rest quarrels between the brothers, namely the Yitzer Hara and the Yitzer Tov, because it gives each one what is its proper chelek, right? Your Yitzer Hara does get stuff, just not on the terms that it wants, and your Yitzer Tov gets what it needs also. Connecting to last night's Tehillim, and it prevents him from seeking superfluities, excesses. Yeah. So Yashvi Samidyanim Uvin Atsumim Yafrid. So the Atsumim is also the Yitara and the Yitara Tov. So that is another thing. This is like a reminds me of the gadol mitzvah v'osa and the misheino mitzvah v'osa, that if you are regulating yourself just based on your own decisions, it's much harder to exercise self-control. But when you have a tzivui imposed upon you or a prohibition, then that is a tool that can actually like quell the battles between your Yitzhar and your Yitzhar Tov, So it's much easier to have a life organized around not seeking excess and like living in moderation when you're doing it through the Torah regimen, through halacha, rather than just like on your own, just trying to like exercise, self-control. Okay, he goes one more. Amar ach nifsha mikirias oz. So I guess he's going to explain this in line with the derech nistar. A wrong brother is more than a fortified city. Ladas harishon, according to the first interpretation of derech nistar we gave, kara hakabala kiryas oz. So it's calling the tradition a fortified city. Valkavana, and the idea is kishahach, when the brother, vihu bal hadas, namely a brother in religion, nifsha midarche hakabala, is wronged from the Darchei Kabbalah. I don't know if that's how to say it. Az yichazku hamachlokos v'yihiyu. Where does it continue? V'yihiyu chazakim v'kashim kibriach armon. What does it mean, nifsha? Yeah, Masorah, yeah.
Saying he's talking to Bala and Masorah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I don't know what he means. So nifsha mi Kabbalah. I mean,
the Kabbalah.
Yeah, I think he gets a wrong, he errs in matters of Kabbalah, right? In other words, if you make a mistake on matters of Kabbalah, then that's going to open you to this type of machlokas.
Yeah, and you're going to double down. That's what it sounds like.
You're going to double down in the sense of because you're clinging to a false Masorah.
Yeah, I'm saying that the person who has this false idea is going to really think that they think they have the true idea, and so they're not gonna be easily persuadable.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? So it's a double-edged sword, right? Is that if you're relying on Masorah, which is acting as a fence, that like you are, it's like a getter in terms of your thinking, right? So if you have the right Masorah, so then it'll protect you from falsehood and from distortion. But if you're clinging to if you're clinging to the Masorah is erroneous, right? So then you're going to cling to that with the same tenacity, and that's going to be an impediment. So it cuts both ways. This is the Bimibach in Bakuda's mashal. The people who rely on Masorah is like the blind man who's being led by someone in front of him who's putting his hands on the guy's shoulders. So he says that works out really well if the guy in front of you can see, but if he can't see, then if he falls into a pit, you'll fall into a pit, and you have a whole chain of people. Then the only thing that matters is the person at the front. If he can see, then he'll lead everyone to safety. But if he's like walking off a cliff, then they'll all just like fall off a cliff. Yeah.
You can have a good girl and a bad girl.
A good girl and a bad girl. Yeah. Although I guess the way he's framing it, I don't know if this matters, but the slight nuance is the girl is good, but you might not perceive what it actually is in your law. Like you might think it's something else. Okay, Uladas Shnia. In Rabbeinu Bachia, you're right. I was just in the Meiri, then the girl's all good. Uladas Shnia, and according to the second approach of the Yitzhar, Yitzhar Tov, and Mitzvos, Kisha Ha'ach HaNichbad, when the exalted Ach, meaning I think it's the Yitzhar Tov, is Nifsha Lihidabek Achar Tivo, is wronged to cling to his nature. V'hu Kasha Limshol Bo Od Mimaloch Al Kiryas Oz. That's going to be more difficult to rule over than ruling over a fortified city. V'hamidyanim asher ravu kumo ravu. Yichazku alav kibriach armon. So I think what he means here is like this, is if you let your intellect get ensnared if you let your Yitzhar Tov get ensnared by your Yitzhar Hara, to the point where you're rationalizing your indulgence in Yitzhar Hara, so then that's going to be very hard. In other words, as long as you have the Yitzhar Tov and the Yitzhar Hara that can be pitted against one another, and like the Yitzhar Tov can show you from one perspective and the Yitzhar Hara can show you from another, so then like there's hope, But if your Yitzhar Tov becomes enslaved to the Yitzhar Hara, then you've compromised the very tool itself, and therefore you're going to have a much harder time breaking out of that. Yeah. That's the derech nistar. Yeah. Okay, any thoughts or questions about that? That's obviously this is different than the way we usually learn Mishlei, but it's good ideas.
Yeah, reminds me of the Kirkiolos that like is it? I said it's very similar. Like being Kovish and Yitzro is like harder than being Kovish like city or something.
Oh yeah, right. That's a pasuk of Mishlei. Yeah, it quotes a pasuk of Mishlei for that. Is it ends with milochet ear. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Hold on. Milochet ear. Erechapayim migibor umosha ruach milochet ear. And that's where it gets that gibor means kovish as Yitzro. Yeah. Let's do the Sefer Chukah and see if that's good. So we're back on 1819. And this is the Radak's father, the Rav Yosef Kimchi, Sefer Chukah, on the bottom left, above the Mitzvah Tzion. Ach nifsha mekirias oz, bein b'chachma, bein ba'osher. Whether in chachma or in wealth. Nakel hu lahavri bein shnei atzumim. So he's also tying it to the Goral pasuk. It is easy to separate between two strong parties. Ach shnei achim merivasam gedola v'atzuma yoser mimirios b'nei adam acherim. But a quarrel between two brothers is going to be stronger than a quarrel between other people. Amar ach nifsha, it says a wronged brother, kasher da'ato b'Meiri umarida, when his mind is in rebellion mode, I guess. I don't know exactly what he means by Meiri and Merida. Ein adam yacholo, no one can defeat him or overtake him, I guess. Kamo kiryas oz, hu kasha lahashiv, which is like a fortified city that's difficult to make go back. Verivo umerivav domim labriach armon, and his quarrel and the people he's quarreling with are like a palace bolt. Okay, so that's like the basic approach we took in the beginning. That we said, I think the last time we did this, that the identification makes just like the love is very strong, it's going to cause the animosity to be very strong, and that's not just brothers, but it's also like husband and wife or whatever, you know. So he's not tying it into Goral. He's just taking the Atsumim, the strong parties from the previous Goral pasuk, and saying like the brothers are going to be the exception to the rule because they're strong, and you can't. The Goral will not save them. Yeah. It's really interesting, like machlokas of does the Goral work with brothers or not? You know, I don't know what to do with that machlokas. V'yesh mefarshim ach nifsha. Some say that a wrong brother. Oh, Goral. Oh, there you go. It's about the Goral. Ki im yesh nachla lachalok la'achim. Because if there is an inheritance to be divided among brothers, v'yesh menachalasam kiryas oz, and their inheritance includes a strong city. La'achar hagoral ach nifsha mimeno kishenachal hagoral la'achiv. After the Goral, a brother who was wrong from him when it falls into his brother's lottery, meaning like, let's say like...
the guy's upset that he didn't get the fortified city.
Yeah, right? Yeah, umidyanim nistalku kivriach armon. And his quarreling will no, I don't get this. Will be removed like a briach armon, kishenichnas bal hagoral yisgor ba'ado. It'll close behind him. Yeah, I don't know what he's saying there.
No.
Not sure.
Maybe he doesn't have any leg to stand on.
Yeah, I guess because once the lottery is cast, like
the palace bolt closes behind him, and he's just like outside, I guess.
Yeah, right. But I think what this is saying is like if you're solving a quarrel through reasoning, this goes back to like what we were interpreting about the Goral. If you're solving a quarrel through reasoning, so then like the reasoning is still active even when the thing has been resolved, in the sense that you could still like argue about like who should have won, who shouldn't have won. But with the Goral, once you make recourse to the Goral, like that's it. You can't argue with how the lottery turned out. Like, so there is a certain finality to a Goral that doesn't occur in a regular argument that's resolved through judgments, you know? So like, it's just like, that's it. You got the city, you know?
Right. But going back to say that the Goral is helpful to them now?
I think this is still sticking with the idea that, I'm not sure actually. Sounds like he's saying it's a consequence of the Goral when one person didn't get what he wanted. I'm not sure. Let's look at the Ralbag, who's at the very back of the packet. I think. Yeah, left column. Ha'ach shepasha bo ach echav. I'm pretty sure it's echav. Hine im heyoso nifsha.
Which pasuk?
19. the brother, when his brothers wronged him, even though he is wronged, who tov echav yoser mikir yasos, he's better to his brothers than a fortified city. Oh yeah, the backpack, yeah. Lahatzilo ulozro be'itos hatzorech, to save him and help him at times of need. Kilo yizkor lo as masha pashalo. He will not remind him about what he erred or what he wronged him with. Kihu atmo uvasaro, because he is his bones and his flesh. This is what we were saying before. Also, is like the natural love between brothers is going to be awakened when someone's in trouble, and like they'll put aside their disputes to cling to it. Whereas with a stranger, there is no underlying natural love, and so if you're in a situation of tzara, then every man for himself. V'chein ish hamidyanim. So he's now learning that this is a different than the brothers, maybe. Same thing with the person who's quarreling. Asher orer midyanim k'neged echav. Okay, so it is the brothers that he arouses quarrels against his brothers. Hine hula echav k'mo briach armon. He will be for his brothers like a palace bolt. Hamafriach mikotel l'kotel, that joins the two walls together. Asher hu kosher haksalim umamida binyan. It connects the walls and supports the binyan. I don't know, maybe he's not learning it like a bolt. Maybe he's learning it like a support beam, like an actual structural part of the wall, not one that opens and closes. Tenhu sibas kium echav vamidaso. So too is the cause of the preservation of the brothers and their standing. V'shomer oso mikol mashlis yakum alav b'chezkas hayad. It will guard them from every destructive force that comes upon them with the strength of the hand. So that's just talking about like there is a reliability of natural love between brothers that you can fall back on, and not only can you fall back on it, but it will be very, very strong and help you to go through those situations. Yeah, I mean so the practical advice according to that. What's the practical advice? I mean, is it saying like it's okay to take risks if you know you got a brother, at your back? Yeah, be your brother's keeper. Yeah, I'm trying to think like because it feels like it's talking to brothers who are wronged, right? Because otherwise, why would it start there? And then just telling them that yeah, even though you have this fight with your brother, then they will be there for you if things go bad. Not sure. Yeah, I still think I like, out of everything we've done today, I think I like the Rabbeinu Yonah the best. Very, very practical. And Rabbeinu Yonah almost goes against this.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's saying this is emphasizing the brotherly love, but Rabbeinu Yonah is emphasizing the brotherly love for harm, or brotherly capacity for harm. That they know you and they can hurt you, and the hatred is stronger. I think this is what's troubling, what's difficult about this puzzle is you sense opposite trends in Mefarshim. Like, is the brothers thing, are they able to overcome their obstacles, or is it like worse, or like if you join it with the Goral thing, does the Goral help even brothers who are disputing, or is the brothers the limit of that? Like it's hard to tell like what to how to resolve this machlokas. I gotta go, sorry, but yeah, alrighty, all right. I think it was worth coming back just to see if we got anything else.
Yeah.